You know how I literally just said that this book keeps me entertained just enough to keep reading? Well, fuck, forget I even said that. Because I've been sitting here for like over an hour reading it, and I mean, I'm either gonna become an alcoholic by the time this book is done, or I'm gonna DNF it. Because without this, I cannot finish it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Six of Crows.
I just feel like you guys at this point are like, why do I follow her? Like, literally, what actual reading does she do? Like, she's not a trustworthy source at all, and you would be correct. Does anyone else skim read their books? And by skim read, I mean only read dialogue. Like, you don't read description. Because personally, I don't care what someone looks like. I don't care where they are. I don't care what they're doing. I
just want you to get your fucking ice scored, and I just want to read action, action, action. I don't care what you did as a child.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. How you doing? I just want to say I appreciate you guys being here. Today, we are going to talk about book talkers. So there's always been an issue I feel like that people have beef with. You got the booktube community, and then you got the BookTok community, and everyone's just beefing it out. It always seems like it. And sometimes I like to just sit back and watch chaos. I follow this thing on Instagram called Bad Reviews. It's like a Goodreads meme, and it just shows a lot of people giving bad reviews on books, and the reviews are usually just like, what in God's name is this? Why? They posted some videos. I saw this booktuber named Rachel on YouTube. I'll post her video down below, and it kind of gave me the idea of doing it, so I was like, we're gonna do it. Her video is way more in depth than mine will probably be, but I just felt like wanting to talk about it because I actually was thinking about talking about this before. A lot of these, as you guys see, the beginning of this video was a lot different than usual, where there's a lot of book talkers, these reviewers are talking about books and they're like, there's too many words. That always blows my mind. I will never ever stop thinking about there are too many words in this book, which just blows my mind. I just want to talk about it because I feel like we are in an age where I truly believe, this is gonna sound like a boomer right here, but I think the problem is, I think like TikTok, shorts, reels, all that is actually destroying our ability wanting to read fast books. I mean, like good books. And I plan on making a video in the future about classic literature because this kind of falls in line with classic literature as well, but I'll go more of the classic literature route later this year about my opinions with that. With this, it's more of like there's people that are just skipping paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs just to get to the dialogue or get to the smut scenes or get to the fighting scenes because they want that fast pace, and then they just want the book to end. And it kind of falls in line where a lot of books that are getting sold on TikTok are kind of written like that, and they're just really bad because the audience only wants that. There's only a few things that audience wants, and it's given us a bad taste in our mouths of good books. It's making bad books good, and then good books just don't get the achievements. And that's what I've been seeing a lot. A lot of these ladies are talking about, you know, oh, I skipped this book because there's too many words. This book's bad because there's too many words. I just want to get to the action, baby. Which makes sense. Sometimes you just want to get to the action. I feel that. I read The Wheel of Time, and I was waiting for the action because there is a lot of stuff like that. And when you have authors like the Colleen Hoovers that write bad books, their characters are very plain, that you can like fit yourself into those characters and pretend that you are those characters more than characters having being actual characters. It kind of puts these reviewers into that spot where they can just review books that they can't be themselves in it, if that makes sense. When I read Colleen Hoover, I did not like Colleen Hoover books. I gave them all 3 stars. If I had to go back to it, I'd probably go in like 2 stars because they're just not good. Now, there's a lot of reasons why I don't like Colleen Hoover books, but if you guys want to watch those videos, go check them out. But what I'm saying is these books are poorly written, and you can read them all in a day, honestly, a day or two. And a lot of these book talkers are reviewing books that are actually good and giving them really bad reviews. And the reasoning is usually there's too many words, which still blows my mind. I think the other problem is a lot of these better authors are writing books where their characters not telling you their thoughts. They're letting you think about the plot. They're letting you think about these characters, letting you think about what might be happening instead of just telling you everything. Like you're spoon feeding you the whole time and just takes away what these characters actually should be doing. That's the other issue that I feel like that's going on. The difference of me reading certain books versus like other books is authors, maybe it's just an author thing. It also is the reviewer thing, is like these reviewers are getting so mad that some of these authors are writing such good books, such in-depth books, and they're getting mad because they're like, I didn't understand it. Yeah, maybe that's a you thing and you didn't actually think too deeply about it because you're skipping pages of information that is there. And that's the other thing is with BookTok, more than BookTube, I would say, is BookTok. People are so obsessed with just trying to read like 400 books in a month, where the aesthetic, that's all it is. It's all for aesthetic. I'm convinced these reviewers don't actually like reading, but they've created their personality around the aesthetic because reading has always been associated with intelligence. So they feel like if we read all these books, if I have all these books, look how smart I am. I am a freaking genius. And that's what I think is actually going on too, is like a lot of these BookTok reviewers think I read 94 books in 1 month. Look how smart I am. And then you ask them, what's this book about? They're like, next question, please. And some of them even said they don't even care what the characters look like. I'm like, how can you get into a book? How can you read something and not know what these characters look like? Not care about any of this? Like, it just blows my mind at all. Like, it really does blow my mind that you don't care about any of this. It's like watching a movie and then you just look at the screen and it's on like times 5 speed because you're not really caring. You're just like, I gotta get to the good stuff, baby. It's one of those things, and it just really makes me sad as a actual reader. I'm gonna call myself an actual reader because I read everything. And that's what they're doing. They're skipping good juicy stuff just for the dialogue. And then I think it puts a lot of authors, especially younger new authors that are trying to get themselves out there, it puts them in spots where they're like, oh, I guess I should just write bad books because I'm gonna make a gajillion dollars because people are just gonna read that over something I actually worked really hard on reading. I also think because a lot of people are complaining about like font size, dude, just these women are reading on Kindles, just change the font size to be bigger. It's that simple. Like I said, I think a lot of people are just obsessed with trying to read as many books as possible. Again, people, who cares? So I get plenty of questions all the time. Zach, how do you read so fast? How do you read so fast? And I've explained it plenty of times. Different genres. I read manga. I read shorter books sometimes. I read more on my free time than I doom scroll on my phone, then I watch YouTube, then I watch movies or whatever. That's what I do. And you can do that too. But when you have book talkers that are posting reviews on hating on like Six of Crows, which I've never read it, so I don't have an opinion on it. Yeah, I plan on reading those because my little sister's been trying to get me to read that, so maybe I will. But I have never heard anyone complain about that series. A lot of people say it's amazing. It's so good. So when I hear people talk about how bad this book is because it's 400 pages, it's because there's just no dialogue on some pages, so you skip it. That's why the book's bad. I don't want to talk to you about books. I don't want to. If you want to read something that just has dialogue, read some freaking comic books or read some manga. You should not be reading books then. And that's the truth. I try not to be a very mean guy, but sometimes it just really frustrates me, especially from someone who started with, could barely read Percy Jackson because of my dyslexia, to where I read soon Gone with the Wind and then like The Catcher in the Rye, and I try to read Pride and Prejudice, and I'm reading The Lord of the Rings. I'm actually understanding this. That really bothers me when people are skipping books that they think are just not good because there's not enough action. You don't appreciate this stuff. The whole point of reading is to escape, is to be away from reality and just be in this world and just be with these characters and go through the journey with these characters. But when you say, oh yeah, I read 600 books this year, don't remember the characters after you get done reading it, it's kind of sad. How can you sit there and look at this camera, which I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, people are doing all kinds of wild stuff to get some clout nowadays. I just don't understand how people can look at a camera and say, I have no idea what I just read. And that does happen sometimes. There's times where I've read books because when I had real bad dyslexia, I didn't know what I was reading, but I kept with it and I've realized, oh, I didn't understand this too well. A couple pages later, I'm like, oh, I get it now. It makes sense. That's just all you have to do. And it just blows my mind with a lot of these things. And like I said, who knows? Maybe these ladies are just doing it for clout. It could be one of those things. Am I an advocate for skim reading? No. Because I just feel like skim reading doesn't help you at all. It just makes you read faster, even though you're not reading faster. You're just skipping pages on pages. Like if you read like a 800 page book, for example, and you skim read it, you're probably skipping 400 pages. Pretty simple. I would easily describe you're probably skipping 400 pages. Easily. Like when I read the book Weave World, one day my girlfriend and I, she was just doing whatever. I spent 7 hours in one spot reading that whole book. Didn't skim read it at all. I spent 7 hours reading that book because A, we had free time, B, because we had free time, and C, we had free time. So I decided I'm gonna read Weave World all day today. Now, if I was skipping it, I probably would have finished the book in like 3 hours. Now, did I finish that book all day? No. I was almost close to, but I was really close to finishing it. I'm just saying, it's like, now I have that experience of reading Weave World, and because I read Weave World, Clive Barker's writing influenced me of how I want to take my writing. For example, how I look at world differently, how I look at words and literature just a lot differently than just with skipping and skimming pages. I just don't understand it. For God's sakes, I didn't even skim read Twilight because I was like, I can't do that. I just don't feel right skimming stuff like that. You feel like you lose information doing it that way. But I just wanted to talk about a little bit about it and just my thoughts and my opinions about like skim reading, like how these book talkers are influencing people to skim read books, especially bad books. It just drives me nuts. And they're not giving good books appreciation. Like I said, if there's too many words on a page, read some comic books, read manga. There's romance manga out there if you want that. There's adult versions of manga out there if you want some smut, I guess. There's that out there. Read some freaking manga. Just saying, it's a lot easier for you. You don't have to skip it. It's just pictures and words. There you go. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Check out all my socials down below. I do have a Patreon. I keep forgetting to mention it in all my videos now. I do have a Patreon, so if you guys want to check out my Patreon, do it. If you guys don't, totally cool as well. And of course, what did you guys think about this video? Do you guys think about that stuff? Like, what do you guys think about book talkers in general? Do you agree with that? I do book talk, but it's more of like, I just do skits. I just like to make jokes. I don't skim read. I do not skim read, but I just do TikTok because I like making TikTok videos once in a while. That's about it. I post it on my YouTube because why not? It's just fun. When you come across this kind of stuff, it kind of just rubs you the wrong way where you don't want to do TikTok and make any of these videos at all, which is why I took a long break from TikTok. And of course, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay weird.